What's up, friends? Welcome back. Eastern Conference playoffs. We're gonna start with Milwaukee. We'll go one through 1, 2, 3, 4 with the seeding. So Milwaukee, Orlando. We saw Jonathan Isaac go down. We talked about the jersey sales. We'll save that for another time. But Milwaukee hasn't looked great, I guess, since. Same thing with the Lakers. Maybe it was just them taking their foot off the pedal because everything has been kind of clinched.
Sure.
Orlando. When healthy, they're a better team than Brooklyn, I think. But I think it's just in this case, and I don't think Eric Gordon's really 100% either. Do you think that they have a chance to even steal a game?
I mean, Aaron Gordon still wants to fight
Fight
Kyle Lowry.
Shout out to our boy.
But you know what? When the bubble started, I looked at the situation that Brooklyn was in, and I'm like, well, looking at the seedings, there's no way in heck that the Raptors aren't gonna play Orlando because like Brooklyn is just filled with injuries and guys with COVID and guys that you really never heard of. And there's the guys like Tyler Johnson, but we're gonna get that series anyways. But Orlando was just bad. Vucevic is basically obviously the star of the team. Markel Fultz is all over the place. I still think he's a bust first round pick.
Yeah. First overall pick.
Yeah, Terrence Ross is throwing mouthpieces at people.
He also left the bubble. Is he back now?
I'm not sure about that.
So Isaac's out. Gordon didn't play last game.
Why doesn't that surprise me that Terrence Ross left the bubble?
Terrence Ross has gone through a full practice, so I guess that he's going to play. It said he returned to the bubble, so I guess he's back. So last game was Fultz, Iwundu, Frazier Jr., DJ Augustine. So they had a few, and then obviously Ennis has been playing pretty good for them. James Ennis.
Yeah, I actually liked him for the Rockets.
Philly and the Rockets. Yeah.
So, I don't give them a shot in heck in the series. I'm actually taking them, the Bucks, to sweep it because I don't think they have an answer for Giannis. And I think the Bucks just have too much going there. And yeah, they definitely struggle through, but the way that Orlando's played, they haven't given me any confidence that they'd even be able to take a game.
Gordon questionable for game one.
Yeah, and again, he got injured on that Kyle situation.
Didn't play, but
yeah, it was, I'm not one to defend Kyle. I think we've gone through enough episodes that I'm not one to defend Kyle. It was a hard foul, no doubt.
It was a necessary foul.
It was a swipe foul, and he was wanting to make sure that he didn't. You know what? Truthfully, and I saw a lot of worse plays in the bubble. I forgot who was it. Dragic on Miami when they had the fast break when he literally grabbed OG's leg and that could have torn ACL.
But all that stuff, I just don't get in these bubble games. Nothing really matters. Even Kyle, if someone's doing that to me in a game, that's a fight. The game means nothing. They're up by enough. You know what I mean? A guy, if you're going to the rim and someone's gonna clip you, and Aaron Gordon's 6'8", 240. He's a big guy going up in the air, athletic as hell, as we know. You're that high up in the air and someone clips you, you're gonna injure yourself just like he did. And I remember I posted after. I thought, well, just your landing, right?
Yeah, you see it was a bit of a freak landing for sure, though, right? I've seen harder fouls end up in nothing.
That's the thing. But I don't want to kind of discredit it and say that you need to literally shoulder someone in the chest to be considered dirty foul or taking someone's feet.
Fair.
Right? And I think that Kyle's smart enough that he kind of made it look like, okay, I'm going to kind of give him a little bit of a cheap shot and not really know. Because Kyle, I love Kyle, but he has a history of doing that stuff. Been to enough games I've seen it, right?
And then Philly thought, he was flopping and then all that stuff. They put in Oscar performances and this and that.
Yeah.
Kyle, I have a very love-hate relationship with Kyle. I thought that first game in the bubble, he played against the Lakers. He played incredibly well.
Yeah.
I gave him full credit. But again, he's got some brain farts, and again, I'll never be Kyle's biggest fan. I'll never say he's the greatest Raptor of all time. It'll never happen out of my mouth. But overall, even if Gordon was playing, I still don't think the Magic would have a chance even to win a game.
Really?
No.
Yeah, it's unlikely for sure. It's definitely unlikely.
Giannis has his oral surgery or whatever. I think that was all BS excuses for him not to play. And here's another thing: he should have been suspended. He should have at least got the first.
He should have. That was bad. The headbutt?
The headbutt, of course.
That was bad.
You're telling me the NBA gives him one game that he doesn't even need to have to play, and he was going to play anyways. That was BS. It's not. It would not have mattered anyways. But he should have been at least suspended a game out of the first round. But whatever. The NBA was a little bit.
And that's out of character too.
It was. But you know what? A lot of these guys are doing that.
High heads now. They've
been
locked up like
we're gonna do the Stephen A. Smith because a lot of these guys are stressed up, and thank God that they're gonna allow some acquaintances and families, no conjugals supposedly. They're gonna allow some people into the bubble in the next couple of weeks because as you can see, a lot of guys are losing their heads and they're doing things very out of character. and
Everything to
supposedly they're gonna make sure that certain people aren't in the bubble that aren't supposed to be there. Good luck monitoring all that.
We'll keep our tabs on Twitter because we know it's gonna leak.
People you only know during social media will obviously be people that you've known for 5 years. It's all gonna be a huge mess, but fun times either way. Hopefully, again, my problem with that is they've been great with the coronavirus tests and so forth. You do that, people come in. I'm hoping that they're going to be screened properly, because if an outbreak hits, I would hate for to lose the rest of the season because infections, and then what are you going to do? Like, baseball's going through a heck of a situation.
Yeah, big time.
And who knows if they're going to be finished? Like some teams are played
dropping like flies.
15 games, other teams have played 6.
Yeah.
It's all over the map. So I think they should be very careful with that. But as soon as you remember, you give them a little bit of an avenue.
And they take a kilometer, they take a mile.
Situations. But yeah, Milwaukee.
Milwaukee in 4. I'll take Milwaukee in 4 too. Okay, it's time for our beloved Raptors, guys. 2 versus 7. Defending champs, longest defending champs of all time. Shout out to our boys.
That's true.
Shout out to our boys.
The Toronto Raptors. Who would have figured?
Brooklyn in the first round, and you know what? As a resident of Ontario, frequent visitor of the city, I found a little bit of offense. I took offense to when Chris Levert had said that we have a shot to win this series.
Caris Levert, yeah.
Karis
Levert, yeah.
said that he thought they had a shot. Like, I get it. I'm all for confidence, bring your team, but let's call a spade a spade. How much of a chance do they have to win a game?
You know what? Like, first and foremost, the Raptors always.
They're gonna play defense.
They always start slow. You know how they are. They're in the game ones. They always start slow.
But they're not in Toronto.
They're not in Toronto. I'm a little bit concerned in the fact that I thought that, like I said, I thought the Nets would be also Rans, that I didn't think that Washington was going to catch them because they were way too far off. Mm-hmm. But I thought that without those guys, with all those injuries and all these guys that opted out of the bubble, that they wouldn't be very competitive. And it's been the complete opposite. Yeah. Levert's been a Raptor killer all year. He's a guy that can really take over a game. Am I concerned that the Raptors are going to lose the series? Absolutely not. Yeah. But I'm not in that situation where I think it's going to be a cakewalk sweep. That's for sure. No, I do not think that, because I see these, like, you see that what they did to Portland the other day, where Portland needs that game and Portland beats them by a point or two. And they didn't even really need that game because they were pretty much locked in the 7th. A lot of these guys, it's one of those situations where a lot of these also ran guys. I mean, and you're worrying that PSG situation. We were talking about Lyon. A lot of these guys that come in there with, no one thinks much of us, no one thinks we're going to do anything. And that makes guys hungry to prove that they can play. Now, you made the point about the Raptors' defense. If the Raptors play their capabilities, it'll likely be a very short series of 4 or 5. We've seen the situations that sometimes that it doesn't happen that way, and they get into these little tips. But again, they ended up. I was actually supremely impressed with some of that Philly game, especially where the 2 benches were going all over each other. I was supremely impressed with a lot of those guys. I'm talking about guys that are probably not even going to play, like Stanley Johnson and it's not Paul Walker. That's the fastest.
Oh yeah, I saw that guy, the G League guy that they brought up. Yeah, I saw that.
22-point Matt Thomas. The Raptors have great depth in those situations, and if they play the capabilities, it'll be a very short series. I'm going to say it goes 5.
And it will be a very short series.
I'm going to say it will go 5 because the Raptors will have too much talent. But it's one of those situations where they have, and I'm sure Nick Nurse knows this, they're going to have to take away Levert and make Joe Harris.
And it's game over.
Well, Joe Harris
think it ends right
shots,
there.
But like
he
in the
can hit some shots.
They've got like I think they got off the bench. I think Cabaret or
Timothy Luwalu.
Yeah. He's been getting like 20 points a game.
He's been decent. With no guys guarding him.
Well, again, like I said, it's one of those situations where I think that I was expecting less. So now I'm not as I'm confident the Raptors will win the series, but I'm not confident it's going to be a cakewalk. I think there'll be some tight games down the stretch that the Raptors will win based on the fact that they have too much talent. But again, should be a 5er at most. But again, if they sweep, that'd be amazing. But again, there's usually a one where the Raptors do drop a bit of a stinker. So and that's again, hopefully not being game 1, because then people might go a little bit. Well, I think they have 1:30 tomorrow, right? I think that's the first game.
Yeah, it is the first game. Yeah,
so,
we have to stream that one.
Yeah.
Raptors fans, have no fear because I think that all it takes is throwing someone like OG at Levert. Levert dropped 37. I was just checking the stats for last game. Stop him, and I think that the series is done. And to be honest, even if he wants to go off for 30, 40 points, it doesn't really matter because nobody else is going to do anything. You talked about guys like Joe Harris. I think he's a great shooter. But he's like a prime Danny Green to me. A better version, I think, but like a Danny Green. Shoot the 3, not much of anything off the dribble, good defender. Jared Allen's been killing it. I know DeAndre Jordan, we talked about guys that missed out. Jared Allen's doing everything, 15 and 12 pretty much every game. Other than that, Tyler Johnson they signed. He's, provided some stability, handling the ball and distributing whatever. 16 points in the last game.
Poor Jamal Crawford.
Jamal Crawford just checked. He hasn't played at all, and he's injured with a hamstring. He's like 42 years old. I just shout out to him. He's one of my favorite players of all time. I don't want to laugh. That's my guy. But I don't think that Brooklyn wins a game. I don't think Brooklyn wins a game, and I don't think any of the games are really that close.
I'm a little bit more reserved on that
because we've been hurt before.
Not even that, but because I've just been I've been keeping tabs on a lot of those games, and they've just been surprising. That game against the Bucks, for example, the Nets were 20-point underdogs, and they won the game from pillar to post. And Giannis played only a half, but it was impressive stuff.
But the thing, I just think that the Raptors are really the thing for me. No, not even deep, yes, but defense. I think that defense is going to be the biggest thing. When the Raptors are guarding teams, unless you have superstars on your team like the Lakers, the Clippers, I think the teams like that, yeah, sure, they have a great team, they'll score 130 points in a game. They're not going to score that if the Raptors are playing D on them. And that's their calling card. If the Raptors are going to come in and play defense and win by at least 10 in the first game, kill their confidence, and then as the series goes on, maybe there'll be a close game.
And I also want to think that the Raptors don't go in with that mentality that all these guys are out and it's going to be a cakewalk, and then they get surprised.
No, I think the Raptors are motivated because a lot of people doubted them last year. A lot of people doubted them this year without Kawhi, and I think that they're going to go with a chip on their shoulder, the same way they always do, Kerry Kyle's kind of mentality, and just steamroll teams. At least Brooklyn in the first round.
Well, as Pascal's, what was that, 99% ice baby? I think it was.
Is that what he said?
To Matt Thomas, and they call him.
Oh yeah. When he ran up on him in the interview.
99%. I don't know.
Matt Thomas been killing it too.
He's he's a very good shooter. He's a very good with minutes, and when he's on, he's a very good. He's just rolling. He's he has that. What was that guy that they had? Capono and Kyle Korver type.
But he's a better defender than those guys. He can move around. He's not incredible, but at least he'll put in an effort, right?
But again, for a guy that was out in
the 10th, 12th man, he's been pretty solid. And he's got a little bit of size too. Yeah. So sweeps Milwaukee, Orlando, Toronto, Brooklyn. At least for me, and you have.
I have
them stealing one game and 5. Okay, Boston, Philly. Ben Simmons, injury is very serious. We don't know. He's not coming back this year, but the injury is going to be very serious. Interesting to see how he's going to bounce back from that. Boston, they've been really good too.
They had the.
Kemba's been in and out of in terms of inconsistency, but who do you like it in this one?
I'm taking the Celtics in 6, mostly because I think even with Simmons there, I think the Celtics probably would have won the series from what I've seen, but I think it would have been a little bit more competitive. I think that the Sixers miss a lot of guys like JJ Redick and then the shooting. I like Korkmaz. I think Korkmaz is a good shooter. But overall, I just don't. I think it would take a very Josh Richardson going off for a lot of the games, or maybe Tobias Harris really having a really big time playoff. I guess Al Horford's still now in the mix now because he's back in the starting lineup now that they have Simmons. At the end of the day, they have
guys.
They have guys. I'm a little concerned with the team chemistry. They had that situation where Embiid wanted to kill the the new point guard. I'm blanking on his name. Shake Milton. There seems to be a lot of issues there with Joel. Last year Joel had a good first round, and the situation with the
last we saw him, he was crying off the court.
The Raptors, and his sicknesses and stuff. He's a guy that can take over the game, but I think Boston as a collective with Tatum and Brown. He'll have I think Embiid will have a great series because the Celtics don't have very good bigs.
Really, right?
They don't have very good bigs.
Size, yeah.
But I think the everything around just favors the Celtics, and then the Celtics take them out in 6.
Wow. I'm going to go upset on this one. I'm going to take Philly. I think that they're going to be playing a different style. Elton Brand's probably told these guys to switch it up because you go from having Ben Simmons, who is maybe one of the best defenders in the league, athletic guys, played the point, can't shoot to save his life. I think they're really gonna benefit from having some spacing and shooting on the floor, especially with Embiid. Because now you got guys like I said, Shake Milton, Tobias Harris, Al Horford, Josh Richardson. I'm really looking to have a big series too. I think this might be his coming out party, even though he's been a Raptors killer with Miami back in the day. Burks, Scott, Neto, Marcus Tybalt, Korkmaz, O'Quinn, this is a deep team too. None of them are stars, but they're all capable guys, right?
Yeah. Like I said, I just think the so you have how many games do you have in that upset?
Maybe 7. I don't. To be honest, man, like if Simmons is there, I don't think it's really an upset, right? It's probably like
Yeah, because I think
kind of
I think
thing.
early on, I think we just thought that the experiment, and I think that this will be, and if they lose in the first round, this will
I
be
think-
for Brett Brown.
That's what I was gonna say, and even
it's
Philly
over.
as a team, right? They're probably gonna break one of those guys up. How long
Yeah.
can you run this out for? Losing in the first round, second
And
round
again,
last
it's the
year.
capabilities that again that if Ben doesn't, and again, I think they'll miss Ben's elite defense that he mentioned in the series. And again, to me, I think the Celtics know what they have to do is they have to basically, limit Embiid as much as they can, and make other guys beat them, and then play it out that way. But like I said, just the overall depth. I don't know. It's one of those things that you could absolutely be right, and it could be a monster series for Embiid and other guys step up. They have the talent for it, but overall, I think the Celtics, especially with Simmons gone, might be a little bit too much down the stretch.
I'm really hoping that Embiid realizes this is, I don't want to say his last chance in Philly, but his last chance with this core of guys. Because if they lose in the first round, regardless of the circumstances, I feel like they have to do something. Even if it's not trading Simmons, you got to assume Horford's gone. Maybe they move Richardson. You can't move Tobias Harris because you just gave him a huge deal, which was ridiculous.
Horford's on a contract that again he didn't have the greatest of years. That might be a tough one to move too because he's what?
You could send a pick, right?
30,
Send a few picks with him,
34,
maybe.
35. I don't know, that'd be tough because he was the guy that I thought that was
With Boston, he was
we
good.
thought that was
going
going to be the piece, right? That
Yeah.
they'd have
Get over the hump.
They get over the hump, but like it hasn't really been that case. But
Maybe he proves his worth in the series against his old team, right?
it could be that too. Or again, they're also a situation where they're looking to make him look bad for doing what he did, and they'll come out hard. Yeah.
I'm going with Philly, guys, and best
I'm
believe that if they pull off this series, my Joel Embiid jersey is going to be on next show.
Again, it'll be a big good series.
Okay. TJ Warren versus Jimmy Butler, my man, Jimmy Buckets,
That's
Indy,
another
Miami,
That's another one.
another bubble kind of MVP finalist.
I didn't catch the game when they come back. I don't know how much Jimmy played because Jimmy was a little bit injured. Warren's been definitely a revelation in the bubble.
Insane.
Absolute revelation in the bubble. Can he keep it up like in that playoff intensity, playing against like the better teams? I don't
It's an
think
empty
so.
stadium. I don't know, man. Like he went to work in this game too.
But I mean, it's gonna be good. I mean, because you know what, like them having to face off with each other consistently, some stuff's gonna blow up, obviously. I think Miami's got too much talent. I think without Sabonis, I think Bam's gonna have a bit of a field day over there. I like Miles Turner. I think he's a good player, but Oladipo still coming back from that injury. I don't know how effective he'll be. Kendrick Nunn hasn't. I watched a few Miami games.
He's been pretty decent. He's inconsistent, but for a
Dragic
rookie,
has actually been
He's
pretty
been better,
solid
yeah.
from the games I watched with him and the Raptors. Overall, I actually like a lot of the Tyler Hero, the 3-point shooter. I know they had that injury to Derek White Jr. He wasn't really playing much anyways. I hope
yeah, that
he's
injury
alright.
looked pretty bad. Yeah.
But overall, I think
Duncan
Miami-
Robinson's been solid, obviously, all season.
I think they have a little bit too much. And Olynyk's actually been a pretty good guy off the bench.
I can't watch him play.
Can't
I
watch
told
him.
Zane. I had to hit up Zane. Shout out to my boy Zane. I watched Kelly Olynyk play, and all he does I saw him All-Star Weekend
Good
at the
Canadian
convention.
boy.
Good Canadian guy. The guy's a monster. He makes me look like a midget. But I can't stand there watching a guy that's 7 feet, 250, just sit at the 3-point line, not make a dribble, and just front rim threes every time.
Yeah,
I need to see something else. Like Myers Leonard to me is a better option for them. At least he's a way better shooter.
Yeah, but I think Olynyk sometimes when off the bench has definitely provided them a spark where he's coming off and getting about 20 points. And I mean, that's all you can really expect out of him there.
Olynyk's stat line last 6 games:
Yeah.
6, 9, 8, 9, 13, 15. That's his points per game.
On the last 6?
Single digits for his last
Okay.
5 games.
I thought he again early on he had come off with a lot of he had a 20-point game early
Yeah,
on.
August 1st, 20 points
Yeah.
against Toronto, 17, 15, 13. Since then, it's gone down.
Again,
a lot.
and you're not expecting 20 a game from him, but he has the capabilities to do it. Overall, but like I said, I think too many. I think the Sabonis thing is a big blow to Indiana.
Massive blow.
So I think Bam.
But they got some depth too. And Bam's a tough matchup for anybody.
Bam's a matchup for anybody. I think Jimmy's gonna be real motivated.
Can you imagine though? Jimmy goes in this series and Miami's favored by 3.5 in the first game. Setting up my pick. I've liked Miami all year. I'm rolling the dice with Indy in this series.
Oh, man.
I'm rolling the dice. Give me Indy.
Wow.
TJ Warren's going out there with a man on a mission.
See, but I don't. I think if let's say like we go in and I guess TJ has been doing that. If like and he talks a lot of smack. I just find that because I love Jimmy Butler as a player. I love his mentality. In the fourth quarter, he's been a little bit off. Again, he has been injured too. I don't know what exactly he's dealing with, but I think if TJ starts going off, I think Butler will take that personally and will try to lock
Is he
him
the
down.
sabotage the game though?
No, not even that. I think that he'll be motivated to really shut him down. And because again, I think Jimmy's a very good defender.
He is. I love Jimmy Butler. One of my favorite guys.
And he would lock down Butler. He would lock down Ward in a way because I think a motivated Jimmy Butler is a very dangerous individual.
For sure.
So maybe if Sabonis was there, I might give him a bit of a chance. But man, I think Bam's been a revelation. I think Bam should definitely be the sixth man of the year.
MIP? You mean?
MIP. I'm sorry, most improved player. Yeah. And because he's been a revelation this year. I don't think anyone was expecting that. And I think again, there's no Sabonis, a lot of stuff going. So you said Indiana, how many?
6 or 7.
Six.
I don't know.
I'm
I'll
taking
say
Miami
7. I'll say 7.
Okay,
Indiana
so
and
you're
7.
you're seeing. I thought it was just going to be Raptors, Celtics,
Man, my
Bucks,
guy-
Miami. I thought that was going to be it.
I thought so too. My man Malcolm Brogdon, another shout out to him. He keeps my dog.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
been
you know
killing
what?
it.
Yeah, for Indiana, yeah.
Let's not forget about
Yeah, I
Indy.
forgot about Bro. Yeah.
Aaron Holiday, TJ Warren, Miles Turner, been an all-star, Oladipo, Brogdon, TJ McConnell, Justin Holiday, McDermott. Like, they got some guys.
Yeah. Like I said, a healthy squad. It definitely would have been someone to consider. Even without Oladipo for the majority of the year, they've been all right. But
I don't know if you can see, I got Miami Heat pants on for whatever reason, but I'm going to get my dogs this season. Give me Indiana. Setting up a second round matchup, which would be against Milwaukee, which would be a tough one for them. But I think that, you know what, man, and shout out to their coach who just got the extension too on Indy, because they were talking that he was going to get canned. I don't know why, because the job that he's done has been incredible.
I mean personally, if with the Raptors thing going on, I would say that I would hope that your Philly prediction would happen, because I think
Set up a second round matchup.
It would, because I think that would be a better matchup for the Raptors, because Gasol plays so well against Embiid, and I think the Celtics give the Raptors
That would be good for
a bigger problem.
For sure.
So I think as for a Raptors situation, if that were to happen, I think I'd be okay with it, because
Especially Simmons out.
without Simmons out, I didn't think the Raptors would really take it to them a lot, and I think Mark does I'm still again Mark plays again in his defense.
Yeah.
His offense sometimes is really lacking.
Begs more.
He missed I think he missed an open layup in one of the games I watched, and I started screaming at the TV that I could have got that layup in, because he had literally nobody around him. I don't know. But again, he's a good guy. Like at the end of the day, but that for a Raptors situation, I'm more afraid of the Celtics in the second round than I would be of Philly.
Same.
Because of Simmons being out, and because they seem to play Philly better than they play Boston. I think Boston's style gets the Raptors a little bit more riled.
100% agree. I think that the Raptors' biggest threats in the East, in order, to be honest, is probably, and this is going to catch you by surprise, I'd go Boston, then Milwaukee, then Miami.
Oh, really?
That's what I would kind of rank
Milwaukee
them.
first, huh?
I think that the Raptors have a decent, especially the way that Milwaukee's played recently. They beat them last year. I know that Kawhi's not there, obviously, but I think that
and obviously guarding Giannis would be the biggest.
I think like I said, the Raptors' defense is the difference for me in these series.
Interesting.
And I think that Boston, if they play against Boston, I honestly think Toronto might lose the series. That's the only team.
I'm a little concerned about that too.
And like I said, Miami,
even in the bubble, they really beat up the Raptors that one game where they really
very
the
physical
Raptors.
team.
Raptors were again they weren't shooting the ball well whatsoever, but like that game was pretty much done at half. So like they definitely need to get into that situation, because I think that Tatum and Brown play really good defense on Pascal, and matchup wise it'd probably be the most difficult.
Yeah, there's not too many advantages there, right?
You would expect that the inside they'd have that advantage, but with Mark and Serge likes to do a lot of his stuff off of the 3-point line, that the inside presence wouldn't be a huge thing.
Would be an advantage, yeah.
But like I said, I think the Raptors match up well with anybody, and I still think the Bucks Raptors will be the Eastern Conference Final, but we'll see.
Like I said, we're gonna come back after the first round. I don't want to start predicting other series, but we'll stick with that for now. Did you think that Dame should have won the MVP? Did you think maybe TJ? Who else were you thinking?
I mean, I probably would have. I think Dame had those crazy games lately, those 60-point games and so on. I personally probably would have. Overall, I mean, I don't think anybody thought that Phoenix was going to go 8-0. I might have given it to Booker.
That's what I was thinking, right?
To Booker,
I think that he went into.
He's wasting his years out there, to be honest. I don't know how long. And I think who was it? I know it was Draymond Green said something, but there was some kind of thing
to Curry, right? The comparison to Curry.
Curry, or that he was wasting his years, or like I saw somebody like one of the players do some, or one of the analysts with him in a Lakers jersey, that they might try to swindle him out of
They have
Phoenix.
no assets though.
That's true. And I don't know how long his contract is for. I don't know how long
He
he
just
has.
signed a max like I think a year ago.
Oh, was it? Okay, so
They gave him like $200 million.
He's
It's one of
kinda-
those deals where you're not like
yeah.
not going.
Well, I mean, they've got like DeAndre Ayton.
They've got
some
space
guys.
too. They have some cap
They
space.
just, I guess, they got a little hot during the bubble and it wasn't enough, but I think he probably deserved it. I think, that game winner against the Clippers was amazing on
Yeah.
so.
Kawhi,
But
Paul George
overall,
were
I
his
mean,
face.
I don't think you could have gone wrong with any of all three of those
Yeah.
guys with Warren as well.
I would have probably given it to Booker too. You're right. I kind of forgot about him for a second. I picked him on. Don had a little thing on the ATB news, and I picked Booker. But yeah, any other surprises other than I guess T.J. Warren, Phoenix has been killing it. Portland sneaks in. Memphis, how bad they been?
I mean, Memphis was bad, but I think overall they were missing with
Jaren Jackson is hurt all the
I
time.
think the biggest surprise is that the Pelicans fired Gentry over they had realistically didn't have much of a shot to make it anyways. I don't know if it was because he was complaining about the Zion minutes. I don't know what that was. I'm very surprised that they pulled that off the way that they did in the circumstances that. Because again, I don't think you gave Gentry an opportunity because Zion missed
Wasn't
him.
there all year. pretty
Yeah,
much.
like I don't know what you and the guys were like. Alonzo Ball took a step forward significantly.
You think
from
so?
what he was. I think he shot the ball a little bit better. He definitely wasn't
Shot was better.
chaotic.
Yeah.
He was hitting a lot of his 3-point shot was much better than what it was. I think Brandon Ingram took a huge step.
For sure. But
so-
contract year.
Yeah, there's that, and again, then now they're going to pay for that too. They might have gotten him at a little bit of a discount, and now they're going
Yeah,
to have to
because
pay for
that's
it.
right. Yeah. Well,
So,
yeah.
I mean, I think that was a little bit short-sighted because I think a lot of guys around the NBA respect Alvin, but I don't know who you're going to really throw in there that's going to do a much better job, especially if Zion's limited. But I think it was a tough situation to get fired over. I think
Yeah.
that's definitely some kind of management back and forth with the Zion minutes.
That's what I was
I
going to
know
say.
he
What do you
does-
think? What do you think the Zion thing was? Do you think it was that the team had kind of said
I
it, or
think
was it the
it's
coach?
I think it's one of those situations where they're doing everything with kid gloves. I think the Bulls. When we watched The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, the Bulls did a similar thing with Jordan
Jordan,
when
they
he had
benched him?
when they had that leg injury where they had him on a minutes restriction and
Get
they
Scotty
needed
the
him.
next year.
Yeah, and they needed the situation where he was on the doctors didn't want him to play on that injury that he had because it could be a career threatener. I think that the Pelicans see the same situation. They don't want him injured because at the end of the day they just lost Anthony Davis. He's a marketable star that'll put butts in the seats, and they can't. And again, the team wasn't going to win anything. All honesty with what's going on, anyways. So keep him healthy for as long as you can and get him where he needs to be. But again, is it going to be a situation like
Kawhi, I was going to say, or is it even like Kawhi, where at this point it's a degenerative issue?
Oh yeah, and he needs to get in better shape, and he's got.
He definitely needs to get in better
He
shape.
needs to get Marc Gasol a ring a ding ding to see.
Yeah.
But again, he's a young kid, but you don't want to have one of those situations where it's a career ender, or he's never going to end up being what he is because they need the ticket sales, to be honest.
Well, they need the ticket sales, and like you said, they lost Anthony Davis, and you don't want to be the franchise that's going to lose two generational superstars.
They got
right?
supremely lucky in that situation because, Lord knows, Davis was going to.
I didn't call that out, but I remember I called out the draft, but
they
the NBA fix. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah,
Right?
They had one guy, one huge superstar gone. They got another one because it's one of those
They're
situations.
struggling market.
Yeah, it's a struggling market, and like I said, I still don't know why the NBA doesn't expand to more of the. I think a team in Vancouver might work out again, in a better situation.
Seattle.
Yeah, there's better markets than what they had, but it is what it is. The one franchise moved out of there anyways when they had the Hornets, right?
Yep.
So
Team OK City or whatever it was.
so hold on, it was Charlotte. Then no, what was it? New Orleans had one.
One year with the Hurricane was OKC New Orleans at the same. They had the slash. Remember
Yeah,
that?
it was a weird situation. Yeah. So I assume that the Charlotte Hornets then became the.
Bobcats. They started a new that was the expansion. They became the Bobcats.
Yeah. So where did
the
the Hornets go? That's where I'm confused.
The Hornets became.
The Hornets became the Pelicans.
Yes.
Also the whole Charlotte.
New Orleans Pelicans. Remember?
Yeah.
West
So
Ball.
Charlotte went to New Orleans. Yeah. I get confused with all this stuff. They little roundabout that you lose a team, they bring it back, and it's all over the place. So Seattle probably could. The Supersonics leading was definitely a stunner.
Yeah.
But I guess I think we pretty much were on tap with the majority of them and a couple upsets here and there. But like I said, I have no
Miami
problem.
Indy too.
Well, like I said, I'm kind of hoping that Philly actually wins that series because I think the drama of that Game 7 thing, which not play Philly again, would be legit. And I could tell like the benches were going like it was to me. I was watching guys that were like 12 men, and I was so into the game because I wanted to see Stanley Johnson do.
He killed it.
He killed it, and yeah, and he got some minutes. And he's been. If there's been one Raptors problem this year is I thought he'd be something, and he didn't really do much. But I mean, maybe with opportunities he could have done something. But again, he's also playing the other team's worst players as well. So I don't know.
I was really pulling for him, but I remember when I went to a few games in the, I guess like the middle of the season, would have been in the winter, like January, December. When he went out there, he almost, I don't know if it was just the situation, but he didn't look great.
He didn't have many minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, the guy that gives me the worst heart attack maybe on offense for the Raptors when he dribbles is probably Rondé. His handles are so weak that every time he just tries to dribble,
lose the ball.
He tries to lose the ball. Yeah, great defender, good rebounder.
Because him and Rondé, Stanley and Rondé came in together. Remember, Nick had said at the beginning that if you guys are going to play defense, you're not going to play.
Yeah, so Rondé gets minutes while Stanley's been really riding pine for the majority of it. But
23 points last game, 29 minutes.
One guy I want to give a shout out to because I know like I have like the your boy Chris.
I was waiting for it.
Shout
out to Slim Duck.
Shout out to Slim Duck. He was one of them. He wasn't the guy that I was gonna mention. But he had a great shooting game the other day where he was just dropping threes and he was having
no conscience against the Bucks.
And again, a guy that